Like,
oh, yeah.
Baseball.
That's.
Sarah Hawkins.
Here.
Carrie Horton.
Here.
Kenny Marlett. Here. Brandon Marquardt. Here. Dave Moore.
Here.
All right, approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, committee forum.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, hey,
Please stand.
I'll stand up.
Thank you.
I'll stand up. Yeah.
Stand.
All right. So just want to come to the booster meeting, or the school board meeting, and say that the boosters are kind of their new management. We got a lot of things going on. We would love to work closer together with the coaches, the community, the school board, you know, as one united group. We had a meeting last night to go over like our bylaws to make it more like a business type of thing, and we'll present that to you guys when we get it. I submitted Eric the other day, like a 5-year plan of what we're looking for. We'd like to focus on more capital gains rather than the little tiny stuff, even though we'll still help out. We are making a quick improvement to the softball, baseball concession stand. We're gonna get rid of that roll top and close it kind of like a drive-through so it'll stay cooler in there. I did submit a quote to Eric. We're gonna move forward with it. We'd love some help if you guys could do that. I'd ask for half. We'll take anything that you guys can get us. I think the bid is like $3,600 for the bid. It will be done before the season starts, so that'll be an instant change that people can see. So yeah, that's really about it. You guys have any questions for us at all as we move forward? We'd be happy to field those at all, but just want to stop and say, hey, we're working to improve on the great job that Deanna did while she was there. Let's not discount that. She did a great job. We're moving forward with some changes.
Feel free to volunteer in the concession stand.
Yeah.
We will take
Get that
volunteers.
plug. Absolutely.
Let's know, we'll sign you up.
We'll sign it right up.
We got a little fly stuff.
We also, one more thing on that, sorry, we also did send out a message to all the coaches and sponsors to submit their 5-year plan, so we kind of planned as well. And we've already had a couple coaches reply, and we did order the golf team today some indoor mats that Marshall said that he doesn't need till next year, he said, but we went ahead and ordered them today.
Appreciate it.
There you go. We're already making improvements.
All right. Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Anyone else? Okay. Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of bills for payment. Any questions on those?
Make a motion to approve bills.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Financial report, $3,337,672.32.
Motion to approve financial report. Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Reports, start with Tony.
All right. As you can see on the personnel resignations of Jake Frazee, I just want to give Jake a shout out. He's been phenomenal to work with this year. I know this is his second year at Wapello. It's moving on, which you never want to stand in the way of, but we did try to. But Jake's a wonderful young man, and he's going to do well wherever he goes. So I just wanted to congratulate him on his new position and wish him the best of luck. Last week we completed our ISAS testing in middle school, high school. Shout out to the staff for proctoring. We did have some illnesses, so it was all hands on deck on proctoring. So we got that done. But Shannon and Kelsey, I want to thank them for their organization that goes into it. It's a week-long event, and it's a lot of work. A lot of prep work on Shannon and Kelsey's part, but getting it through and getting it done. So we did get that done, and I know Brett's going to be doing his next week, so we're going for that. On April 30th, we're having our hometown day. We're hosting our annual hometown day, so we're starting to get some emails in for that and whatnot, and trying to. I think we'll be in Oakville and Cara. Thank you. Never been there. So we're getting everything lined up for that day, and looking forward to a good day. Hopefully we have great weather, so we're pushing towards that. May 3rd will be prom for our high schoolers, so have that on the calendars. It's pretty much going to be as it did last year. So things will be at the high school. We'll have our promenades and whatnots, and then get into the dance and stuff. So looking forward to that. And I know this is down the road, but not too far, so I want to make sure you guys have it on your calendars. But May 14th, baccalaureate at 6 p.m. and senior awards at 7 in the auditorium. And then following that on May 18th is graduation. So obviously we love having the board there. And that will start at 2 in our practice gym. So a lot of work to be done before that. I don't want to stress Kelsey out here, but we're looking forward to this. We're going to miss these seniors. They've been a great group for us. But again, it's just part of what we do, right? And so we're looking forward to that too. And we do have many other events in May, but I can talk about that in the May board meeting. So that's what I got.
Questions, comments? Thank you. Jen?
Shannon's currently in California on her daughter's music trip. She's chaperoning that, so she included a report in the packet. Yeah, a chance to look at that.
Brandon?
You can see my hires, I've also want to let you know I'll have all the winter sports coaches up for hire in May before we get to summer like usual, so they can participate in summer workouts. I did offer the head wrestling position to somebody this morning, last night. And so that will be filled in May as well. And then so we'll get the assistant job open as soon as that person is hired. And off we go. We're actually getting some spots filled, which is good. Just some updates. Batting cage softball. Brett Schaefer's been working his tail off over there for us. I want to give a shout out to, I think Ideal's given us 22 yards of concrete. They're going to give us like 15 yards of it. So, thanks to them because I'm not sure financially how it was going to happen without them. So, big shout out to them. Brett's been working on it for 2 days, had a little hiccup yesterday, but they're in a good place today. If you drove by, you saw they have everything formed up, ready to go. They're going to get the holes filled with concrete for the poles. Those poles are different than any batting cage we've ever had before. It's quite a industrial sized batting cage.
They're large.
It is a baseball length batting cage, which might look odd at a softball field, but the good news is that means you can take batting practice 2 different directions. So if you were to put a net in the middle, you can have 2 people hitting at once. So there's a reason it's longer. But anyway, it's coming along. I don't know exactly when the floor is going to get poured for it, but Brett's working on getting that formed up, and then he's got some volunteer help that's going to come in and help him kind of tidy that stuff up and put the cage together. So it is moving forward. Hopefully it's ready in time for the season. I believe it will. I was questioning that in December when parts were all over the country and not here. But they're all here now and things are moving ahead. We did have a track meet issue last week that I want to, kind of clarify what happened. I never like to lose a track meet. Obviously, there's a lot of people that look forward to our co-ed track meet, and last year got rained out, and this year everything was working over there until 2 o'clock, 2:15, and all of a sudden the computers that we need to run the track meet quit working. They stopped talking, and I called the AEA, and they zoomed in and remotely worked on the computer and tried to help me get it back to where it needed to be. And his response was, "I've never seen this before, and I don't think we're going to have it fixed before your track meet starts." And so we had to cancel. And unfortunately, we had one team that was already in the parking lot, which they stayed and practiced. So at least they got something out of the trip. And I had my official was already in the parking lot. I mean, we were 2:45 when this, and everybody's starting to show up about that time because we're kicking everything off at 4 o'clock. So it was an unfortunate situation, but I want you to be aware that I spent 2 hours that night with everything at my table and rebuild everything, and somehow I miraculously got it to work. So it works again. I also have Jason from the AEA coming tomorrow to walk through everything with me to make sure that it's all gonna stay that way. And then I've asked him to make sure that on our track meets from now on that he adjusts his hours if possible to be there for at least till 5 or 5:30, so everything's kind of kicked off, we're kind of going, and everything's working fine. And he's assured me that is not a problem. He's going to adjust his schedule and his time to be in Wapello to make sure that he can do that. I can handle almost everything that those things do, but networking It takes someone who's at a different level of tech to network. And especially when you have, you know, a $20,000 camera on the other end that you're trying to incorporate into that. So I just feel better if I have another a person that can be hands-on and they're with me at that time, and Jason's gonna make that happen. I wanna pass this around. This is a note we got sent to the board from Cohen Wolford, thanking you for supporting him at the state wrestling tournament. Last couple of things, next board meeting, and I'm here to take any questions tonight for these things, but I feel it's important to bring them up tonight. We can talk about them next board meeting, and you can make your decision then. Let me do one more thing before I get to that though, sorry. Junior high baseball and softball schedule. If you get a chance to go or if you got access to that in any way and you've seen the schedules, they changed. There are a couple teams in our conference who are struggling in numbers for baseball and or softball. We are one of those who are struggling with numbers in junior high and high school baseball. So what we've talked about as a conference in the past, and we did it last year with Hillcrest and it worked out really nice, was rather than having the high school team here and the junior high team at Hillcrest, we're going to play in one location, all the games. Now that means we have to start earlier. So junior high softball is going to start at 2:30, and I think I got baseball starting at 3:30. Softball is going to play 2 games, baseball is going to play 1 game. But what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to play more JV games, not only for us, but for the teams we're playing, because some of those 8th graders can stick around and play JV, where they wouldn't be able to do that if they were in a different town. So it's not ideal that it's going to start earlier, and it's not our entire schedule. It's against 3 teams at home and those same 3 teams on the road. So for junior high, that's 6 out of 14 games. For high school, that's 6 out of 20-something games, right? But it doesn't change anything on the high school side of things. The only thing we do with high school is when we do those nights, we're going to flip-flop the JV and varsity baseball games, because right now we play varsity baseball first. We're going to flip-flop those so that those 8th graders aren't play a game, set a game, play a game. They can just, you know, parents want, yeah. And so we'll see how it goes. It's kind of a test, not only for us, but for the other teams that are wanting to try it to see how it works. If it's something that works, you know, maybe it's something our conference discusses. Most conferences do not play, I won't say most. There are very few conferences that actually play junior high baseball and softball. We are a very rural community, obviously, so it benefits us to play a conference, junior high baseball, softball. But most of those conferences that do have it play their games at 10 in the morning, and they have no issue doing that. And actually, they have an easier time finding officials, because your high school officials will do the morning and then you know, do the afternoon. So I don't foresee that being an issue. Plus, we have 3 or 4 guys that work our games that are really good about just put me wherever you want me. So you know, that's going to be something that we're gonna test it out, see what happens, and if it doesn't work next year, we won't do anything. The one weird thing it did to the junior high schedule is normally you're like home for a game or 2 and then away for a game or 2, then home and away. It was just by happenstance. All the junior high games for the first 5 or 6 games are on the road, and then the rest of the season they're at home. So I talked to Brett today. You know, obviously he's coaching junior high softball. And he's like, "Oh, that's not bad," because then you get through that travel right away, and then you're just so you got like two and a half weeks of games on the road, and then 3 weeks at home. I mean, as a coach, I would take that any day of the week. The last thing about sports is, or about these things is scheduling is the high school football schedule came out Monday. A couple of things with that. One, I posted the schedule online. It says that our homecoming game is with North Cedar. If you're making adjustments to your schedule, it's actually going to be against Columbus the next week, because that North Cedar week is the same week as the girls' volleyball conference tournament, and I always anticipate us making it to Saturday finals, and that would wreck our dance. So we've moved that to the Columbus week, which is the next week. The following year, we don't really have a choice. We have to have our homecoming game where we have it, because it's the only game for like 3 or 4 weeks where we could do it. And you don't want to have a week 2 homecoming game, and you don't want a week 7 or 8 homecoming game, because that's your senior night. So you want to separate those. We are having a statewide, especially Southeast Iowa, issue with officials for football. So I'm just going to tell you, there is a chance that we'll have to get creative in that though we like to play on Friday, it could be a Thursday or a Saturday week at some point. And here's why. Tony and I, immediately when we get the schedule, we call and get officials for the next 2 years. The schedule came out at noon, that they didn't post it on the website like they said. It only showed up on social media. We didn't find it till like 12:04. By 12:08, all my normal officials were already booked for 2 years. So, not a big deal. I'll write to the Iowa City Association. They'll help us out. They'll assign people to our games. And my response I got was, "Thank you, Brandon. I've got them written down. We'll get them in the system. I'm just going to be upfront with you. I don't think we'll be able to fill them because we have to cover over by Des Moines now too, because they had a bunch of crews over there retire, and there's nobody new." We hope that doesn't become an issue. 2 of the 4 games for each year, we did get them filled, but we are 2 short on each year for our home varsity games. So we're going to have to get creative potentially. Let's hope that's not the case. I'm going to work hard in trying to get somebody in place over the next few weeks. I did have a new crew reach out to me and say, "Hey, we're looking for a game." I said, "Yep, we'll take it." So we'll do what we can to make it work. But I know the state of Illinois already has a lot of teams playing on Thursday nights. Big schools, they pay a lot of money playing on Thursday nights because they can't fill their officials for football. So part of that issue is, it takes 5 football officials. So it's not like one guy just signs up and all of a sudden he's a crew, right? You got to get 5 people to come do that game. So it's tough, but we're going to do what we can to make it work. My last 2 things, and you guys can ask me any questions you have. I'm going to bring you 2 recommendations in May. One of those recommendations is I think that it's time that we pay a morning strength and conditioning coach. I know over the last couple of years, I've been asked a lot about, hey, what can we do for strength in the morning for kids, especially junior high kids? What about the high school kids that want to do some extra work? I'm going to give you a number. It's going to, if you haven't heard this number already, probably make your head spin a little bit. Between junior high and high school, we have 56 kids who have been coming to morning lifting. We have 20-something Monday, Wednesday, Friday for high school, and Tuesday, Thursday, we have another 20-something, 30-something coming for junior high. If we have the money to do so, I would like to see us hire that as a position that is a minimum of 3 days a week. That person can do 5, like we are now, that's fine. But I think it's a benefit to every program we have in our school district. And if we can find the money to pay that, I think we need to do it. And last but not least, assistant girls wrestling coach. If possible, I would also like to see us have an assistant girls wrestling coach. We had 9 kids this year. We rely heavily on volunteers this year for wrestling, which is great. We have a lot of them. But at some point, I think we need to consider making an assistant position and compensating the people that are doing that work. I understand budget's tight, and that's numbers you'll have to look at and talk to Eric about, and come up with a financially responsible decision as a board. But those are my 2 recommendations that I would have, going forward. So, and I'm happy to field any questions.
I have a question about strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
We currently have that as a class now. We
Correct.
pay a person to do that, correct? Because we don't have PE anymore.
Correct.
So this is in addition to that.
Correct. We've always had kids that have wanted to work out more in the mornings, 6:30, 7:30, to get extra work in. We've always had a handful, maybe 5 or 10. We got a lot. And we've never had a junior high program. So, they really benefit from having that situation in the mornings.
So you're talking basically because of the increase in numbers, we
Yeah.
need an assistant. I mean, what's going on now stays the same.
They're not
The way they're
doing
doing it.
strength and conditioning in the morning. They're just doing it throughout the day.
During
The
class
person
time.
today.
Oh, okay, they're not doing the early morning stuff.
Correct.
And so you want somebody pretty much
Yeah.
doing just that.
I mean, some are doing both.
Yeah, some
The
kids.
kids.
Yeah.
But we have a teacher for strength and conditioning.
That's the issue.
This is in addition to that teacher.
Right. The teacher is 7:45 to 3:45. I would like to see
So I
somebody at
just
6:30.
assumed, I thought maybe the teacher was coming in earlier or something and doing that.
Well, we have somebody who has
Oh, yeah, okay.
We were doing, correct me if I'm wrong, $25 an hour
Okay.
early morning after COVID, using COVID funds, and then we transitioned out of that, but did we stop that completely?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't have any more funds for it. So Todd did 2 summers off COVID money where he worked the summer.
Yep.
He got paid to work the summer in the weight room. And then the next year when we had just a little bit of money left, we did $25 per day that the weight room was open for an hour in the morning to that individual who opened it. And we had a rotation of 3 people that took that on and we rotated it through.
That's what I thought.
But we ran out of money,
Yeah.
so we didn't have that anymore. This position that I'm talking about would also include summer. We would give that person August off. They would have 11 months of at least a minimum of 3 days a week in the mornings. So that is all the way through August. The dead week would be the cutoff. So wherever dead week lands, family week, into August or into July, early August, that's 7 days. That would be the stop of them doing the weight room until September.
And who is interested in this? I pretty much know, but who's interested in continuing it?
Well, right now I have Hunter Brooks in there. He's doing the morning the stuff, and Lath Smith's been helping him. And the kids respond really well to those 2 guys, and they're getting a lot out of it. So, I mean, I just feel like it's
Hunter's
something
not getting paid for it currently today.
a little bit, yes.
Okay.
It's not a total paid position. We lost our football coach who was already doing this in the mornings. And so we had basically 5 days to come up with a situation where we could transition to get somebody in there. I didn't want to lose that momentum of those junior high kids coming in. I think we had 15 junior high kids coming in at that time. So I'd like to make an actual position, open it up, let's get somebody hired. But again, that's your guys' financial decision.
We had some vacant jobs that weren't gonna be filled this year, so we shifted some money to this year.
Shift it,
Make
okay.
it permanent, that's what Brandon's asking.
We did a one-time thing.
What about an addition onto a contract for Hunter?
What's that?
Just some type of an addition to his contract? Some type of stipend bonus?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how that works.
That's an option we could look at as well.
Okay.
Whether it be a standalone or an addition.
Yeah, all right, let's just have some options.
And like I told Hunter, if you choose, like right now, I told him, if you choose to do more hours and more days, that's up to you.
Wait for you.
I'm looking at 3 days a week, a minimum of an hour per day. If you want to do groups in the summer where you're just going to be in the weight room for 3 hours, then you made that decision. It's no different than anybody on salary. You can choose to do more, but this is what we can afford to make this happen. I just would really like to see it be a long-term solution for us because we've had this conversation. I've been approached by board members, not necessarily everybody in here, but over the last 3 years, I've had people coming to me like, hey, how can we make this happen? How can we make it work? I don't know. I mean, I can't, I don't control that budget. So, you know, that's something you guys get to look at. But I think that's, if I had to prioritize things, that's my number one. Like, I think that for me, that's something we need.
With the number of kids.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree, it's popular. Any other questions? Thank you for the night that you had canceled track. You immediately called us and you immediately apologized to all the coaches and teams and ADs. So that was impressive right away and took accountability for it. So thank you.
It was not a fun night.
No, I get
Out
it.
of your control, but yeah.
It was.
I mean,
Any other questions? Cody?
All right, I'm currently working on getting pricing to have wood chips installed around the elementary playgrounds. They're in dire need of being replaced. And also, Brett and I are kind of looking at our options for the rubber mats in the preschool area. We currently have those closed off. The prices are insane, and I know I kind of talked with Brett as well. We have to meet certain codes to, you know, if a kid falls, that they have to be braced and everything like that. So a lot of loopholes that we're gonna have to go through, and it's probably not gonna be a cheap thing, but we're just kind of exploring our options right now because that's all we can do. At Building and Grounds, we kind of discussed sprucing up the front entryway at the high school. One of the issues that we've kind of looked at, Brandon and I have, it's starting to rust out down at the bottom. So I'm gonna get some prices just to see what it would cost to replace it. That way we can kind of evaluate our options and see what we can do. And then in room 206, that'd be on second floor at the high school. There's a leak coming through the wall somewhere. I'm kind of stumped on where, so Brett Schaefer's gonna bring his lift over and look and see if there's something coming from the outside, or I think it could potentially be coming through the tunnels down below. I'm not 100% sure, but I wanna get it resolved before the humidity sets in and we get mold, so that's kind of a concern of mine.
Who's in room 206?
Melissa made, but I think she brought it up to Rob last year, but it's gotten progressively worse. Throughout. I don't know if it's from the steam or what, but it's kind of a mystery, so we're gonna get that solved. I'd also like to thank Dave for tilling up the ground in front of the elementary. It looks so much better than it is. We're gonna get some hydro seeding done later today, and he's gonna give us a price on
That'll
that.
save us so much time and effort
Yeah.
and money, honestly,
Yeah.
to keep replanting and replanting. Nice.
Thanks for doing that.
I don't know if you noticed they painted the fire lane. by
I just
Preston's
noticed
jail.
that.
They did?
I'll just go over there.
Oh, I didn't see that.
They called and said, we have some time, can we do it? I said, absolutely, you did.
Yes, please.
Any questions, comments?
All right, my report's in front of you. The legislative session, we believe, is gonna be coming to a close here fairly soon. They did reach an agreement on SSA for next year. Unfortunately, it's only the 2% that was originally proposed by the Senate. But the House did agree with that. One thing that was included in there, which is a really good thing for us, is they're going to raise the operational sharing cap from 21 to 25. So we're gonna be looking at ways we can take advantage of that for additional students worth. That'll be about $32,000 in spending authority we're gonna look to capture somehow. For bills, the cell phone bill, I believe, has passed through both houses and is on its way to the governor. She may have even signed it. now.
She signed it.
Did it? Thank you. The math instruction bill has passed both sides of the house, both houses, and I think she signed that as well. That will bring math to the same level of attention as reading is right now, where you have to screen students 3 times a year, provide an intervention plan for those students who are not meeting benchmark. We're gonna have to look at how we're gonna do our staffing for that, because that brings a whole nother realm of intervention in play. So we're gonna have to be taking a look at that. A couple pieces of legislation did not survive. Remember, that doesn't mean they're totally dead, because they can always come back as amendments. There was a bill that would adjust the legal start date for school. That did not advance. There was some thought that that was gonna have some legs this year, but it did not make it through. There was also a rumor that we were all gonna have to switch to the same student information system. We currently use Power School. The big 3 in Iowa are JMC, Infinite Campus, and Power School. Making that switch would have been possible. However, I think we would have 2 school secretaries who would literally explode. Especially if we didn't have a lot of time to make that transition. So I was glad to see that it did not advance on the fast track that it was originally on. The AEA changes for next year, just a reminder again, we get 100% of the ed services and the media services money. That doesn't flow through to the districts, it comes to the AEA, it comes to us. Special ed funds, 90% flow through to the AEA, 10% remain with us. Later on the agenda, we will have the service agreement for next year ready for your approval. We have gone through and we've taken the money that is ours and fit it with the services that we would like. So that's going to be there for your review and for your approval. The AEA is really pushing to get these approved, because the sooner they get these, then they can start offering contracts to their people. Because right now they're kind of in a holding pattern because they don't know what they're going to do. Please do not come to graduation on May 19th like I have there. There will be nobody there for graduation. Come on the 18th like Tony said. Okay? And again, you're going to be in the air-conditioned comfort of the practice gym. Our representative information is there. My schedule is down there. If you flip over, you'll see that for another month, our student count in JMC held steady. So I like to see that. I said in JMC, I'm in Power School. Yep. You know what I meant.
Questions, comments? Thank you. Brett?
All right, My notes I sent to you in your email, hopefully everybody got them this time. Like Tony mentioned, we have ISASP coming up, they're just finishing up. Ours will be next week. And fifth grade will be doing that all 4 days with 4 tests. The third and fourth grade will have 3 days of testing. Parent-teacher conferences were a couple weeks ago. We were well over 90% attendance. Unfortunately, some of the ones we didn't see are the ones that are hard to get there. But we make phone calls. We find a way to get in contact with them either way. So, early childhood open house night was well attended last month. It was a nice night, lots going on, soccer practices, things like that. But over 20 families that showed up, and it was well attended for a very nice night that they could be doing other things. So I'm appreciative of everybody that came out. Maintenance, we had some issues with our fire alarm system. It's specifically in the boiler room. Obviously, it's hot in there when the heat's going. That's been resolved. They've got 2 new sensors in there. We've had no more issues since. So that should be wrapped up and put to bed. So we've had no other problems with that. Cody mentioned we're exploring some replacement options for some playground surfaces that are out of date and need a repair, specifically that first playground on the north side of the building where the pre-K equipment is. That was put together with grant money and things like that before my time here started, and that's been a little bit now. So we're, obviously prices have gone up and we all know how that goes. So we're looking at options. But everything from the mulch and pea gravel, Cody's been working on getting quotes together for that stuff that just needs freshened up. Character Strong, every month I give you this update. April is focused on courage. Courage is doing what's helpful and right and kind, even when it's hard or scary. That's what we've been talking to our kids about, and among all the other character traits this month specifically was courage. On the 25th of April, we have our pre-K roundup. A reminder, we don't do kindergarten roundup anymore. We have pretty much all of our kids that are coming into pre-K go on to kindergarten. If there are new families that are coming into kindergarten or they went to preschool elsewhere, they are also welcome. So if they're new to our building going into kindergarten, they're also invited. And there will not be preschool on the 25th for that day and full day of events with those students. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Do you use your like your open house night to kind of send the information to those families to come to the roundup, or how's that work?
We do, and we ask for, we send flyers home with the families that we have, and we'll post obviously on the website that this is happening. Mm-hmm. So anytime we have kids that aren't at those, but we hear names, we're calling, getting as much information from people that didn't show up to our events. And obviously, even if someone doesn't come to roundup, or they miss that event, or they move into the area afterwards, they're obviously welcome to register. And it just helps us get information, but it's by no means like a qualifier to
Right.
show up. So, and if anybody knows of names and they're not sure if we have it, let us know so that we can get information out to people. We never can get everyone, so all the help we can get.
Questions? Thank you. Yep. All right, hires? Questions about those?
We do have this additional one that was added late today, so it's a new hire for social studies. Tony wants to speak on that. That was not on the original agenda, but somebody locked in, we're gonna approve that.
Yep, name's Jaden Keys. He's originally from the North Liberty area, he went to Regina. We were very fortunate, we interviewed 3 candidates Monday and 2 on Tuesday. Brandon and Hunter and myself. We felt pretty comfortable giving the job to any one of the three. We were very fortunate to have three really strong candidates. Jake kind of rose to the top, and I offered to him last night, and he took it this morning. So we're very lucky. So
Can we
They're
just do them all?
volunteers.
So they're all.
Yeah, you can go, because they're just volunteers.
I make a motion to approve, hires 1 through 8. Including the social studies.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resignation, Jake Fraser.
I suppose I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Jake Frazee, the high school social studies teacher.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business, consideration for fundraisers.
I believe you just have two in there, baseball apparel and baseball fundraising platform.
I make a motion to approve the fundraisers listed in the packet.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion, consideration approval of policies.
All right, you got a whole bunch of policies. The first agenda item, these are our regular board rotation. It's the 100 series. You'll notice 102 is not included. That's because it's going to be down with a recommended amendment change down below. But our language is up to date according to IASB. I have no recommended changes, so I would ask that you approve them as they are.
I'll make a motion to approve board policies 100, can I do that? 100 through 106, even though it's.
Second. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, consideration for changes to board policies.
All right, you have a stack of policies with some recommended changes. The changes are really minimal. For most of them, they strike the words gender identity out of the policy since that is no longer a protected class in Iowa. So the majority of them simply reflect that those words are taken out. Let me page through here. It also talks about how the board secretary is the custodian of district records, but it can also be their designee. Under child abuse reporting, we are no longer required to take both child and dependent adult abuse training for our licenses. You only have to take the child abuse training portion. That change has come through. Those of you who already took the dependent adult, I'm sorry. Yeah, and like I said, those are the changes that they're recommending.
I make a motion to approve the changes to board policies as listed.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, consideration for first reading of proposed policy, student use of personal electronic devices.
All right, this is the model policy put out on IASB to reflect the requirements of the new legislation. As you read through it, it does not differ really from what we already have in place.
We pretty much had it before.
You know, so, you know, this will require a reading next month to become official. But honestly, guys, we're ahead of the game because we were already there.
Do we have to have two readings since we already had policy in place?
Since this is a brand new policy for you, yeah. So we'll need a motion to approve that.
So I was just looking to see if it was an action item or.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of the student use of personal electronic device policy.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, guys.
All right, presentation, just career academic plan.
Am I on?
Are you on?
I don't know.
Try to. So that you can see your slide on the.
It's blinking now.
One sec.
We worked before, we all slide.
Yes, we did.
Things like that.
You know me, I love a visual aid. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the district career and academic plan, also called our DCAP. I'm one of several members on the team, it's not just me. However, I get the fun job of presenting to you guys today. But again, there's several of us, mostly the ones who head it are myself, Tony, and Shannon, with an addition of other staff members as we go through. Our DCAP is a district career and academic plan. It's a roadmap for our district implementation of career development and the student's ICAP. So a DCAP and an ICAP. The ICAP is an individual career and academic plan. They start those when they are an 8th grade student. I teach a transitions class with the 8th grade students, and they use their 4-year plan at that point, and they will revisit it every single year when they before they graduate. And it's really small to see, but this is what our plans look like for our kids. So this is a junior. So this is her most current one. So her 9th and 10th grade and her junior year are the most accurate. And then what she will take her senior year is up on the board. So and they kind of track for them, 1, are they meeting those graduation requirements? And 2, will they hit that magic number of 52 by the end of their senior year to graduate? But they revisit these every single year. A copy goes home to their parents and a copy stays in their file with me. We are evaluating our DCAP based on 7 different sections. So one of them is presenting to the school board. Next is how comprehensive is our team. We do a district statement summary, things that we are proud of, things we're working on, things like that. We are evaluating how our students pick their courses. And then for course planning, our work-based learning in section 4. Section 5 is where our staff comes in the most in our essential components 1 through 5. And then we have our FAFSA advisement. And then the district information is like where when we started the year versus when we ended the year, what did that look like and how do we make those goals? So the 5 essential components are up on the board. This is where our staff comes in and tells us what things are doing in the classroom to meet these components. And then they prove what grade level it's for, how does it scaffold up between the 9th grade and the 12th grade year, and then how do we make sure that all students are getting those things. But it also looks at, they have to provide reflection and they provide some sort of evidence showing how that looks like. I'm just going to show you kind of one so you understand what we're looking at. Is essential component number 1, self-understanding. So students deal with that with me when they start their 8th grade year. This is our current data from our students this year. I started this process in February with them. But it takes our 16 career cluster areas and breaks it down to what our most popular one. So the career interest survey tells our kids what they're interested in, what they like to do. They used to take a scale and do it. Most of our kids land in human services, what they like to do. Then they take in, which nobody apparently likes marketing, so just then it tells, we ask them how confident are they in those certain skills, and then it changes dramatically. So our top 5 land in law enforcement, human services, health, and ag services. So that's kind of where our kids feel the most confident. And then our 9th through 11th graders take work values. What do they value in a job? So not surprisingly, coworkers. Who do you work with is number 1. The security, last on the list. Nobody cares. They're good. They know that they're going to change jobs, which is on average, kids of this generation are going to change jobs every 7 years, roughly. They're going to change. Okay? So that's just kind of the information we find out, and we put this all on our DCAP for other schools to evaluate and look at, and then that's how we prove that we're meeting these certain things for our students. Big changes that we had this year was work-based learning. The state of Iowa revamped the entire way we talk about work-based learning in our state. It used to be that work-based learning could be any type of a kid coming in. When a speaker came in, that could be counted as work-based learning. Or if they go out, that was work-based learning. They've dramatically changed it to include certain things. So school-based enterprises connected to what's called an industry-related credential, or industry-recognized credential, which is an IRC. Pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeships, internships, and then student learner programs. So that's now how we have to function in our work-based learning. This is a better graphic of it. It's called Career Connected Learning. So it's split our work-based learning profile into about 14 different categories. So they do like 1 through 8 of those categories in the classroom. So speakers, if we have an interactive, like we have the visual or virtual reality helmets come in, that would be a career connected learning, but that's the career exploration. For then we have our students that come in and hit the school-based enterprises, the internships, things like that. That's work-based learning now. So they have to be connected to somebody outside our building, unless your school qualifies for a school-based enterprise. And then, so on our students who do like our work release program, they would not, it counts in that, but we have to get it more like verified. We have to get it a little bit more paperwork on that. But that's kind of what we're looking at now, is how do we revamp that and how to connect that to our industries in town, all of that kind of thing. The biggest other change is post-secondary readiness indicator change. So we are evaluated, we used to be evaluated based on these things to say our district was post-secondary ready. ACT participation, how successful they were on that test, college level coursework, and CTE concentrators. That's what we used to be evaluated on. Now we're being evaluated on the percentage of students who obtain college credit while in high school, the percentage of students who are in a work-based learning with the updated definition, percentage of students who obtain an IRC, which an IRC could also be like our CNA students who earn their credential, our EMT kids, Safe Serve kids, any of that kind of stuff counts as an IRC. For Wapello, in the last year, this is where we sit at 60.1% of our post-secondary readiness. And this graph will show you from the classes of 2020 to 2022. So you're still dealing with some COVID stuff there, but that's kind of where it indicates it's up. And then it'll show us within 6 years how many of our kids complete what they set out to do. So that top number shows us how many kids say, I'm going, this is what I'm going to go do. That second line says how many of them actually stayed and did what they were supposed to do. So that's kind of what our numbers look like. Comparatively to other districts in the area, we're right with them. And then that 13% is how many of our students take a remedial class once they leave our high school, like an English and math class. That number has steadily fell since I've been here. So we were at like 16% last year, we're at 13% this year. Okay? So that's just some information that we have in terms of our post-secondary readiness. I anticipate this will change with the new definition coming out and how we're evaluated. The bottom line of our DCAP is it shows us what we have going really well at our building and things that we need to work on. We have some really great opportunities. Our CTE teachers work really hard to make sure kids get all those opportunities they can have, taking them on trips, bringing people in. Our teachers in general do a really good job of that, connecting that learning to real world learning. We definitely found some areas to improve on, so how do we make sure all students get what we're offering to them, not just students who take drafting 1. Like how do we make sure everybody takes that class, and then how do we make our plain comprehensive K-12? So how do we get it down lower to make sure that by the time they're seniors, they have been hearing the same language their entire careers. Looking forward to the future, we're on the verge of taking students to a very new level of their academic success and academic, and how we're going to get them career ready. We have juniors, sophomores becoming juniors. We're going to take advantage of academies next year through SEC and Muscatine Community College. So they're going for ag, nursing, welding, and diesel mechanics. So we have about 4 different categories that we're pushing kids through. So they'll spend about half their day at the college level and come back and do their core classes with us, or whatever classes else they want to do, and then that will be their academic career. So we will probably see this sophomore class walking out with credentials done, if they complete the full 2 years. So it's very exciting, but it takes a lot of moving parts to get all that worked out. So we're kind of slowly getting in the building of that all up. So as always, I will send you a completed DCAP once we have it done. It's not due till May 1st, but part of it is kind of giving the process of how we're doing it. So you'll get to see the full document in all of its glory on May 1st when I have it all done. So, but thank you for your time. Does anybody have any questions about what we're doing?
Do we, like with this, do we get any extra funding for this, or how's this all, because like.
Just part of our
accreditation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many other schools in our area are doing the academies?
Well, some of them have academies built into their school. So there's a good chunk of them doing that. And some of them are offering it more in their buildings. So our kids are gonna have to travel. That's gonna be a reality for them. But I would say we're probably we're close to the most. Mm-hmm. Like Burlington's got enough, but like they have it in their building, so they don't get to brag on that. We got 30 minutes, so
we need a highlight.
we're going. Like we got a lot of kids going.
Opportunity that are suited like they're not, that they're just able to walk out and have a job.
Any other questions? Oh, we did so Tony's talking about, so we did ACT and ASVAB for the juniors this last, couple of months. We had about 22 juniors take the ACT, very high scores of that junior class. I mean, we had
Highest I've ever seen.
Yeah, we had a student get it perfect in science. Like we're right there.
That's impressive, that's awesome.
Yeah, so very happy. Our ASVAB scores came back. We did that score interpretation today. We had a student get like the 99th percentile. Like we're fine. So there's students that are getting it. So they crushed the test this past couple of weeks. So
Those are the things we need.
So, but it also was a very good indicator for some of our students to see where they were. So, because the ASVAB test tests on way different things. So there were some kids that were like, oh, like I sucked on tests. This was actually way better now. Yeah. So, yeah, it was much better for those.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kelsey, how do you get that information on the graduates?
When do I get like the post-secondary readiness?
How do you get that?
So there's a website that if you just type in Iowa post-secondary readiness, this website pops up. And then you can search by district.
Do the postgraduates get contacted by?
No, it's like a report what how they enroll in the college. So the college sends a report in. All right, awesome. It's good to graduate, I think.
We're adamant with
Okay. Next, we got a presentation of the VA initial proposal for negotiations, just information.
Okay, I think you guys have a copy. I'm not gonna read it word for word, but the first one we have normal lane and step movement. Then we started a labor management committee, and we would really like to have a school board member to be part of that committee. On the base wage, we're asking for $2,500 on the base, and the district cover the insurance. And then have a contract with reopener clause for salary and other matters mutually agreed upon. Change the number of our contract days to 182. And then Article 4 extra class assignment talks about teachers who assume additional instructional planning and delivery responsibilities due to a lack of a teacher. Like this year we have taught art. And then it kind of gives you the percentages there. If you have questions, that's why Sarah's here, she's the math person. She understands everything. And then add to the Appendix D at the end of payment to be made at the end of each season for coaches. We just had a question on one of those. Health Benefit Committee. We would love to pursue a health benefit committee to help research best insurance options for the district. And then the handbook, talk about some unused sick leave for employees who have accumulated our 120 max as of the first day of school. The district will cash out the net entitlement of 15 days at the rate of $75 per unused day. To calculate the cash out, the number of sick leave days used in the school year will be subtracted from 15, and then the result will be multiplied by $75. There's a lot of people that are maxed out, and so they don't get their days anymore at the beginning of the year because they're already maxed out. And then we've also had several meetings to try to talk about having a sick leave bank to be used for people with catastrophic illnesses, and it kind of explains it in there for you. Personal leaves, employees who have 2 unused personal leave days could roll them over the following year and cannot exceed 5 personal days to have in 1 year. And any person days remaining beyond the 2 will be purchased back by the district for $150 per day. And then I think we had some wording issues. We kind of talked about it at a meeting that the district shall limit the number of certified employees on personal leave on any one day. We used to do that. It's kind of hasn't really been an issue lately. And then change unused personal leave will be compensated from $65 per day to $150 per day, and start effective as of July 1st. I don't know if you guys have any questions.
Looks pretty straightforward.
Yep. Okay.
What's the current number of contract days?
84. Questions as of now? Okay, thank you. All right, consideration set date and time for presentation of district's initial proposal.
All right, when we're done with our regular meeting, we're gonna go into exempt session and we're going to craft our initial proposal. We have 2 weeks from tonight to present our initial proposal to the association. In the past, it has always been we craft the proposal tonight and then we have a meeting during the day, usually over lunch, with me and someone from the association. It is a public meeting, but the only person who has ever shown up has been Jim once in a while. We can schedule an evening meeting if you want it to be a full meeting of the board, or we can continue with what our past practice has been. You just advise me on how you'd like to proceed.
I'm fine with that.
We have every night, so we will.
Okay, there you go. Since it is an action item, I guess if you just take action telling me that that's what you want me to do.
I make a motion to set the date as past practice has been.
Second. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Consideration approved 25-26 service agreement with River.
All right, the service agreement is in your packet. I've referenced it before. We have gone through and we have tried to schedule out days when we can have our consultants come in. We are still contracting with a social worker for 3 days a week, which is our current level. We are not losing any services, but we had to pare down from what we initially wanted because our eyes were bigger than our pocketbooks, but that's just the way it goes. You'll see that our very bottom line figure is $121,379. Most of that is taken up by our social worker, but remember we have 3 days, each day is paid with a different pot of money. One of those is for operational share. So this will keep us within our budget. And like I said, they would like us to approve this if we can, so that they can start working on staffing. But I'll answer any questions you may have if you have any.
So you know, do we get Ashley back?
Yes. In all my conversations, I've said that's a non-negotiable.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
You're not included in this.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, consideration for approved bid for asbestos abatement.
Cody, can you talk to us about what we're looking at?
Yeah, so currently we have a steam leak. Underneath it'd be Jane Boston's room. And of course it's coated in asbestos. And so first line of things we need to do is get that out of there. The access point to get to it is in the room next to Boston's. It'd be Simpson's room. There's a manhole that you crawl down underneath. And what we're gonna end up having to do is I wanna go about 10 feet, so the manhole's here, go 10 feet that way, and then abate basically from the front doors all the way down to the end of the building. That way, when Dave from Northwest Mechanical goes down there, he's safe from any exposure, because, you know, we definitely don't let him down there with that kind of stuff. But I think it's an important thing that we do this, because that steam leak is probably just gonna get worse and worse over time, and it definitely needs to be addressed.
And we were only able to secure the one bid.
Yeah, I called around, but a lot of places around here just do the testing for it now. They don't, unless I go out of state. And this is who I've recommended that go through. So.
Maybe wrong, but I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah. I'm not sure what we're gonna debate here.
I agree, but I would be hesitant to bite off that whole $38,000 chunk at this time. You got a roof that you're getting ready to replace, you got a school bus that's coming. My suggestion would be you pay to get abated what you need to abate at this point. And then when that gym is paid for, tag that onto the project and abate more of it. My suggestion would be to abate only what you have to at this point.
So when they do that, they can bag just that area where you're gonna do the repair, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
kind
that's
of
what
what
they should really have to do if you're not gonna abate the whole tunnel. If
Yeah.
that's what we wanna do and afford. Just do what's needed just for the repair at this time.
That would be my suggestion.
So can they give us a price on that before we?
It's in
I don't wanna-
the bid. It's $30 per linear
$30
pipe,
per
per feet of piping.
So how many feet you're talking, like 3-4 feet or something?
Well, no, I
Around that
measured the length. I measured just outside. I didn't have it on the tunnel, but it's about 84 feet.
Oh, that's what you're talking about, was 84 feet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I think there's just
We're on
the
the same
steam
page.
pipe that has the asbestos on it, and I don't think there's asbestos all the way down. So I'm not 100% sure, but it's $30 per linear foot of piping.
That's how I read that, and it's 84 feet to fix the leak,
Yeah, that's like the tunnel.
or the leak.
Yeah.
So they're gonna remove 84 feet of it though.
Yes, but it's hard to say. There could be 3 sets of pipe down there that all have asbestos on it, so it's going to depend. Like I said, the pictures show it's spotty. I don't know if the asbestos over time fell off the pipes, but in order to get to that spot, it's going to have to be
Cleaned up.
Yeah.
Or else it's not safe for someone to go down there.
Yeah,
It's a big mess down there.
Yeah, I told our Dave from Northwest and not even bother go down there until we get that taken care of.
And then if we have a steam leak or something happen bad in the fall or the winter time, then you're kind of in trouble if we don't have it cleaned up too. 'Cause we don't-
Then we'll be right back here.
Right. So the 38,000 is the full.
That would be the entire tunnel that wraps all the way around the building. So that would be something, we'll just do the $30 per.
The $30
Yeah,
per
that's what I would.
foot.
Are you comfortable with that, Eric? Okay.
Okay,
There
because
could
that's
be-
two different things
There could
in
be,
that email.
there could be 3 pipes. It's per
Yeah.
pipe,
Yeah, that's probably what it would be.
so just maybe we max it off at 10,000, it's 2520 for 84. Just higher amount, $10,000.
You could set a cap.
Fair.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the bid for the asbestos abatement. Do I need to get,
Not to exceed.
do I need to, not to exceed $10,000?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Take consideration for bid for the elementary roof work.
All right, Cody, I'm looking to you again.
So you'll have 3 bids in front of you. You should. Kind of before we start that, I have Brian from Council Village Roofing here. He kind of just wants to talk a little bit about his bid, if that's all right with you guys. And
He said it.
That's what I heard Eric say.
Just want to make sure you got a latest copy of it. Looks good.
945, yeah.
Alright, I don't know if I should stand here preferably not stand in the middle, but I'll stand here. So first of all, I have Brian Miller with Castle Grove Roofing. A little background on me. I've been out here doing some repairs for you guys for the last few years. Spent a lot of time at the elementary school, high school. Cody's helped me out on the weekends, getting our guys in, so I appreciate the help there. So essentially, what's going on with the elementary roof, it's a spray foam roof. It's been taking on a lot of water over the years. Right now, it's been coated before, so we need to make sure that we're going to resurface it with a new coating. With the coating, we're proposing a 10-year coating option. So, I don't know if you guys saw the proposal from, it would have been a few months ago. It had photos of what's going on. So on the roof, with it being spray foam, there's like craters and things of that nature, so you got to be cognizant of that. So with that said, you got to power wash the entire roof. The coating's only as good as the roof, as clean as the roof is. So power wash it, get it clean, address the penetration curves, pipes coming out. You're getting 2 gallons a square of coating, so that's good for a 10-year warranty. You're replacing drain bowl covers. We provide annual inspections up until the day the warranty expires. One thing I wanted to talk about was the warranty itself. So with the 10-year warranty, this is a 10-year warranty backed by the manufacturer. So I think we were told earlier, every 7 years people change jobs. So contractors are no different. They come and go. So we don't provide in-house warranties. So I could say I'll give you a 20-year warranty. If I'm out the door, for whatever reason, X, Y, Z, it's really no good. So this is backed, what I'm proposing is backed by the manufacturer. We're not going anywhere. We've been addressing these, leaks for some time. I think last winter we shoveled off a few feet of snow, so we're pretty committed. I've got my own guys. I don't sub out my work. I have 5 guys I've had for the last 3-4 years. That's essentially it. Proposal is $93,500. In my line of business, anything under $3 a square foot's a really good price. This is a little over $2, and I think it's about $2.10. So, appreciate working with you guys up to this point. Hopefully, we can keep doing some business as time goes on. But thanks for the time, and let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks. All right, back to you, Cody.
I do want to thank Brian and Council Grove. Anytime we've had a leak, they've had someone here within 24 hours. They've been up on the roof when it's raining, snow, anything. They've been more than willing to come help us out. And with the FFA room, within the last year, we've had our issues, and they've been down here every single time I called to get those issues resolved. So I really appreciate kind of the relationship that we built with the Castle Grove.
Do you have anything on the other 2 bids that you want to point out to the board?
Not really.
If you don't, that's okay.
I think.
I don't want to shut you up.
I think it's between the 2. I mean, I think the one was
One's really
pretty high.
expensive.
It's just kind of a generalized,
So,
not detailed.
I don't know, appreciate for that one here, but do you know if he's subbing this out or what?
That's the way I took it, that he was gonna set it out.
I'm gonna add one more thing that I forgot to mention. So with the cratering, when I first started this business, you could just go out there with a paintbrush roller and roll it on. You can do that on a lot of types of roof and get by. This, with all the dips and valleys, you really got to spray it on. That comes with a $30,000 piece of equipment, so you got to have, you can't just come out there with a group. I don't know what the other contractors are doing. They should be spraying it if they're not, but one thing I probably want to know is, are you spraying it? Because if you're not spraying it, it's gonna look terrible, and you're not gonna be satisfied. So,
What do you do with the existing wet spots? If you have
So
moisture underneath that already, you have to remove those?
Yeah, so in my bid, I've got a spray foam guy. I don't do spray foam myself, but I work, being in the slime business, work closely with one. We do a thermal scan, so I've got a thermal gun that I'll use to walk around, look in the areas. We've done core samples. I've had the manufacturer come out and walk the roof with me. But with the core samples and with the thermal scans that we're going to do as we go, we will take out the wet insulation. I got a day built in for using spray foam replacements. Obviously, the roof's been leaking, so that spray foam isn't going to dry itself. There is going to be some that needs replaced. Now, from what I've seen, it is relatively dry. There's been some areas that are wet, but that's going to have to be addressed when the time comes.
So we are going to take action on what bid we're going to approve.
Correct. If you're gonna spray it on, how do you know you're getting that thickness equivalent? Are you doing it in sections, so you have so much project and you know you're getting so many inches? Is it, on a roll-on section, he's gonna split it up in sections where he knows exactly how much product he has.
Yeah, so we get it in drums, so maybe he's using 5-gallon pails if he's rolling it on. So with that, there's a mill thickness gauge. We gotta have at least 30 mils of thickness when it goes down. So every drum, we are checking multiple locations on the roof as we go. We do it no differently. We split it into quadrants. We're doing it 55 gallons at a time versus 5-gallon pails where I've done that too. But no, mill thickness gauge. So you want to get a wet mill thickness. As the coating cures, the next day you'll come back and take a cured out thickness, making sure you reach the requirements. So it doesn't matter if you have 2 gallons a square, you might put majority of it on one section of the roof, and then the other section is much lighter. That's why you got to do it in stages. You don't want to, just because you got on the roof doesn't mean your roof is, has the proper thickness. And we also measure the waste. So knowing that there's not going to be exactly 30 mils, we're not going to order exactly enough product for that. We're going to order plenty extra, knowing that we're not going to be perfect as we apply it.
Yeah, you're more of an expert on this. What do you,
Well,
this is your area.
to me, the bids, look pretty good, and I'm not going to beat around the bush. These guys work for the school, Cody likes them and whatnot, but we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because I also like to use local contractor, kids in school, local business guy, also. But we have used Brett on other projects too. It's not like he hasn't gotten his share of projects also, over the years and to come. To me, I would like to know more about, I don't know what Brett's, I know this isn't his expertise. As far as doing this kind of roof, I don't know how many he's done like this and who's doing it. Is he stuff? I got some questions, I guess, on his end. I would have. I don't know. We know what he does. That's what he does. So I guess I don't understand.
Would you like us to try to call Brett?
I would.
He said he couldn't be at the meeting, but he said we could reach him by phone.
I'm curious on how is he doing the work? Is he subbing this work out? Have we ever had Brett do any of this kind of work before on the school roofs, like this type of stuff?
No.
He does roofs in town, steel roofs and house roofs and things like that. But I don't want to. I just want more information on it. I don't want to.
Right. Do you want?
Not have a decision made, tonight.
Tell him not to say anything stupid.
It's live on YouTube, on speaker.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing we're less than 50%.
Yeah.
Then we might get a different.
It's good that we won't.
How many answers do we I'm good, Brett, and the first thing I'm gonna tell you is you're on speakerphone with a room full of people, so, I'm supposed to tell you to behave yourself.
One more language.
Then you got it. All right, we're looking at the bids for the roofing project, and there are some questions that are coming up that you're the only one who can answer, so I'm gonna let people shoot them your way.
Brett, Dave, everything's, pretty close here. So my question is, I guess would be, are you subbing this out, or, you know, I know that, the other people that are here are, you know, this is what they do, these types of roofs and whatnot. They're kind of, that's what they specialize in. I mean, your bid looks to me to be apples to apples, as far as I can tell anyway, for what's going on here. But what is your, how are you handling this?
I wouldn't say that we do this every day, but these are guys that work for me every day that will be doing this.
Okay.
So it's not we're not subbing this out to another roofing company, I will say that.
Okay.
We are doing the project.
Okay. Anybody else got any other questions? So you feel pretty confident in this process, since you've never done this before? This type of roofing, you know, with the silicone, have you done it? Do you have any other experience with these?
Times. I mean, this is no different than, you know, we're putting a layer of silicone on. We're coming in, we're putting a cleaning agent on the roof, we're power washing the roof, letting it dry, and then what we do, which a lot of people don't do, is we will not spray ours because you cannot control your mill thickness per square. So what we do is we cone off, say 100 to 200 square feet areas, and then we know exactly how many gallons we need to apply within that 100 or 200 square feet, so that we know we're putting that exact mill thickness on. Where a lot of guys will just go through, and we've done them where we've sprayed them before, but we cannot guarantee our exact mill thickness without checking. So, and it's very inconsistent.
Okay.
What's the difference between reinforced flashing and flash grade coating?
Say that again. I heard reinforced flashing.
It says on yours, reinforced flashing will be installed at all separations cracking, and theirs is, will install flashing grade coating for those areas.
So reinforced flashing, it's just a different product other than it's still a siliconized product, but it's actually a more, what I would call, elastomeric product. Anywhere where we have like your additions, you know, where they added on what I would call the West Edition, you will have areas that are prone for separation with expansion and contraction, especially with that roof being a spray foam roof. So, you know, those are areas that we would flash. Anywhere where there's an extrusion, we do that flashing there. There's aluminum glazing from the gym that rises up, say, I don't know, 8 foot there on facing the west above the lunchroom. That flashing would be applied there.
So, also you have down that you will provide free yearly inspections. That will be up to Cody to contact you, I would assume. Correct. Keep track of. And then your labor warranty says up to 10 years. Is that, what's the manufacturer's warranty? Is that what you're talking about?
So, I don't care who will tell you what. That roof is a spray foam roof. So, now, I did talk to our manufacturer, and they said they will come down and they will issue something, but whether or not, I spoke to Mike and Eric about this, no different than a shingle warranty. We can issue a 30-year warranty on your shingles, and I can tell you in 5 years, if you got a manufacturer defect, you're not getting squat. That's a fine writing that manufacturers will issue. And no one will manufacturize warranty for that roof knowing ahead of time if it is spray foam. If it's iso board and it's got a silicone over it, then yes, there can be a manufacturer warranty, but absolutely not with spray foam. I just put that in there that we would give a labor craftsmanship warranty for 10 years, pending obviously, you know, inspecting that roof yearly.
Hold on. Getting old.
Should have wrote it down.
I should have jotted it down. I should have jotted it down. Let me think about it a second. Anybody else got anything they can think of? I mean, we're kind of getting the same information. He's got a little bit of different information, of course.
And like I said, this is just a 10-year. I told Mike today, I mean, ultimately, if money wasn't an option here, I would tell you the correct thing to do is to tear everything off. But, you know, today, you'd be looking at right at 1 to 1.1 million to do that.
come off because it's not gonna be a permanent no matter what we do at this point. So the wet spots, are you gonna remove all those? Maybe we talked about that one time, you mentioned something to me, but, all right, you get spots in there that are that get wet and they're gonna expand and contract in the winter time and then the heat of the summer. Are you doing like, you guys have to do moisture test and try to figure those spots out and remove them and then respray foam before you can
there's
coat?
spots existing up there that obviously, we can walk and we can find right away that we know that we're going to want to probably inspect a little more, whether or not we cut some open or we just core, some specific areas. Does that mean that you catch every little spot? I mean, you can walk all over that 40,000 square feet roof and there may be an area that you miss. Now, I can tell you when you do clean it off, when you go up there right now, obviously the roof looks very, very dingy, but we did clean an area off to test. We actually did a pull test up there just to make sure that it's not a polyurethane coating as opposed to a silicone coating, because siliconized will not adhere to that polyurethane. So we wanted to make sure that that is what it was. And when doing so, I mean, it actually looks pretty good. Obviously, there's areas where the West Addition was on. There's quite a few drain areas that have never, I don't even know that they even fixed them 10 years ago when they put the layer of silicone on.
Yeah.
Those areas could have moisture around them, and what we'll do at that point is we'll cut those out and we'll install ISO board to bring it back up to the level of, the adjacent of the foam, and then we'll actually put fiber mesh and flashing in there to tie that together so that we don't have separation from, what I would call a new silicone to the old silicone.
You're gonna do new drains, aluminum drains.
Yep.
My other question, I remember now, I knew it would come back to me. What's everyone's time frame, start to finish?
So
Start date, we would like to have a start date and a finish date.
I would say 2 weeks, depending weather. The good thing with this stuff is, let's say we know we've got rain coming in 3 hours for that silicone. It's not like we got to say, hey, we got rain coming tomorrow, we can't install any silicone. You can with this. It's probably going to take us 4 days to clean, disinfect, and wash that roof, and then it's probably going to take us 4 to 5 days to apply the silicone. Pending we don't find a lot of moisture, but again, I walked over quite a bit of that roof, and it actually, looks pretty good other than those areas where that West Addition, and even then, it's not bad. It just needs some TLC.
Okay. That's all I have.
So back to, I would say 12 days is probably a good number to throw out there if we're looking at deadlines. And
Well, I'm more looking at a start date, so we have an idea on a start date more than anything, so we don't have summer get by, drag out, next thing you know, we're in fall, and, what other projects you have going on.
And Brandon, one of them asked me, is June 1 a good start date? And I said yes.
Okay. Anything else? Now we can have a rebuttal.
Anything more for Brett?
No, thank you, Brett.
Good, thank you.
All right, thanks, Brett.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right, you're up.
He knows a lot, so I'll give him some credit. You can definitely check the mill thickness when you're spraying. I've sprayed over 1 million square feet of, not silicone exactly, I've sprayed a lot of silicone, but over 1 million square feet of coatings, and you can certainly do that. That's why we do it as we go. My biggest concern would be rolling it. I've rolled on quite a bit too. When you first start, you have no option but go to the Home Depot and grab the rollers and start rolling. So if you're going over these craters, you're gonna be skimming over the top of it in a lot of cases. So now you got to get these little rollers that are gonna fit it. It's gonna take forever. You can't roll that. That's my strong opinion on that.
It's not flat, I understand.
No, it's not even, you can get low profile rollers. I looked into that on this as well. I would not roll it. And then timeline wise, we're booked through second, third week of May. So we'd be definitely before June. What else? Warranty wise, no, we've got signed off by the manufacturer, they will warranty a spray foam roof. I don't know, I've worked with a lot of manufacturers, don't know of any of them that wouldn't warranty labor and material for 10 years on the spray foam roof. So, I'm not, maybe his manufacturer does not, but, it's very common actually. I mean, obviously you gotta check the condition of the roof. You can't just warranty anything, but, actually, I had the manufacturer out here, we walked the roof with the manufacturer. Mr. Peterson was in on that meeting, if you recall. And, no, he gave us his blessing that they would definitely warranty that roof. So, as long as they say yes, I'm good with yes. So that's my thoughts.
Get about just under $2,000 difference.
Yeah, it's not a ton.
Schaefer's at 91,800. Castle's at 93,500. Big bucks for make a decision.
Well, it's always about dollars and cents, and, I know we've talked about, or, we've had local contractors do things here and there, and we like to use them as much as possible, but if you have problems, things aren't getting done, then that's an issue for us, but, sometimes that happens, and it happens with out-of-town contractors too, it's not just local. Most of the time, we can hold our finger or thumb on them a little bit tighter, whether or not we get action or not. Sometimes that takes a little while, but we usually do, so.
So these are pretty comparable.
And I don't wanna step on Cody's toes either, he depends on these guys, understand, and they come down and help us out in a pinch too, but I also like to see our local tax dollars that are used here and spent here in our community.
I make a motion to go with the bid from Brett Schaefer Construction for $91,800.
I'll second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I thank you for working great with
Oh,
them.
yeah, for sure.
This
That's not gonna stop.
is not, yeah.
I mean, it's dollars and cents,
Yeah.
but it's not that much. I know it doesn't seem that much. Sometimes they are, but, there's other things involved in this too that we like to work with, so.
Thank you.
Alright, consideration of Bird Farms PRCA radio contract.
All right, I apologize that a member of Bird's crew isn't here. I thought someone was going to be, but here's the agreement for you. Really, the language is the same. You'll notice there is some different writing there on that front page. When we were working out our new agreement, we asked them to take some stuff that was covered under gentlemen's agreements and actually write them out in the contract so that it's spelled out in black and white. And they have done what we've asked them to do. So everything looks as if it is in order.
To validate contact means she couldn't be here,
Okay.
but Mike, you got it just right. Everything's been agreed to and things that were Jones are now in writing, so, and nothing else has changed.
Right.
Prices are still the same as they were last year.
I'll make a motion to approve the PRCA radio contract.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright, items for next meeting.
Anything that you can think of, and if you can't think anything now, just shoot them my way. You know how to get a hold of me.
Consideration set date and time for next meeting.
All right, the second Wednesday in May is May 14th. However, that is already a very busy day for us, so we're going to want to look at a different day.
What's May 13th look like?
We've got first round. What was that?
I said I'm fine then.
You've got boys soccer first round, Brandon.
Yeah, unless they change it like they have asked.
Okay.
I mean, that's the dates the state has told us at this
And
time.
there's a junior high boys and girls track meet at
Friday's not gonna work. Yeah,
No, take over on Thursday.
yeah,
Okay.
and Friday will probably be the rain date for that.
So will the 13th be the lesser of two evils?
Girls golf is at Schaefer's, junior high, boys and girls tracks away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. When you get to May like this, it's
I know.
It's awful.
it's the end of 2 seasons in a week, or 3 seasons,
Like, I
beginning
think
of
the
2.
next week you're gonna, baseball starts,
Yeah,
right?
free
Or
baseball
the
games
next
that
week,
week.
Or
yeah,
the week before.
yeah. Yeah, or you go week 4.
Junior high track, is that a problem for you? It's Cody track.
No, we can do anything, man.
Okay.
This is like. Everything with the 13th as of
You said May 13 then?
I think so.
I think that's probably the,
I don't think you can avoid it, I mean, you're gonna hit something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we,
6 or,
And change it on us.
I say that's fine. I was looking at 7th
You won't
too.
be in the field, don't worry.
Yeah, I think 13 probably.
This, the 7th you could do, I mean, I know there's the boys golf tournament that day, but it's done well before.
Yeah, and it's at home.
Correct. We host
But
it.
is there a, or no, never mind, that's the next day. Yeah, I'm not opposed to the 7th either, that's easy.
Brandon, it's your wife's birthday.
It is
Trying to get out of
serious.
town.
are you serious, Brown? You literally brought that up?
Well, she'll have another one next year.
You hope
It's just
so,
another day.
but maybe not with you.
I think in the interest of Brown's marriage, we might want to avoid the 7th.
I already put the 13th on my calendar.
Me too.
Thirteenth's fine.
Sorry, Brandon.
This is
That's
like a
you.
tiebreaker.
I make a
13th.
motion for the meeting to be on the 13th at 6.
Second.
Second all in favor?
Aye.
All right, consideration to go in exempt session.
Second.
Here's a second.
All in favor?
I'll put it on the Google calendar and I'll put it on balance tomorrow.
Thank you.
Jenna?